Okay, if you don't know what Rwby is, Rwby is basically a show about 4 girls who go on crazy adventures in their high school, and then subsequently afterwards go on crazy adventures in their lives, and they have friends, professors, family members, evil villains, fight scenes. They have it all. Listen, this show has it all. It's basically like My Hero Academia. Well, it's in the same realm of My Hero Academia in the sense of it's just a bunch of fighting and powers and blood, dust, all that. They got all of it. If you want a real rundown, you can just either go watch the show or go look at Wikipedia entry. But I loved this show for so long. For me, what I loved most about it was the story and the fight scenes. Everything, I want to say up until Volume 4 was great. You had that great balance of there are great fight scenes, music is bomb, animal people, enough fan service to where like, let's couple these people together, or it's healthy. It's not like they're trying to force things, or they're not trying to, you can see the reason for why that person felt the way they did, you know what I mean, because of what they went through and because of what we saw. You got an interesting world build, you have different kingdoms, you have different schools, you have different types of people who have different types of lives, who may be similar in the sense of they're 2 faunus, but they have 2 different styles of thinking, and all the faunus have different styles of thinking. It's not just a hive mentality. And then you have backstories upon backstories that just are genuinely interesting, and even the ones that aren't terrible. And then when Volume 3 came out, it was like, finally, you had that sense of all of the things that were prophesized or foreshadowed are coming to fruition. All the plans that we heard Cinder have, all the stuff Torchwick did is finally coming to fruition. He stole all that dust for a reason. He stole it to then use it with the White Fang attack on Beacon. All of this happened, and you're just like, this is great. This is a story. It's not the best story, but I can see this going great from this point on. You know what I mean? I can see where this would elevate to a great story that's interesting and that can genuinely critique if you wanted to. Then Volume 4 came, and it all just started going downhill. It's to where they were just fan service, insert fan service here. Drama, insert unnecessary drama here. Like, there were so many things that felt like they were just shoved in because reasons. Like, with Volume 4, you kind of followed team on their individual life missions, in the sense of Weiss was back in Atlas, Blake was in Menagerie, or going to Menagerie, Yang was trying to figure out her life, and then Rwby was on an adventure with Team Juniper, or the rest of Team Juniper anyways. And it seemed to be going well, you know what I mean? You had them living their lives, them fighting out things, but then it just became to a point of like, okay, well, this is kind of boring. It got so boring. I'm not even gonna lie. I tried to be like, no, it's fine. It got so boring. But I kind of let that slide because it reminded me of things like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto. Those shows were great, but they were boring because it took so long for you to move the plot. But for them, there was a payoff. For Volume 4, there wasn't. There really wasn't the payoff. And then Volume 5 happened, and it was like, where's my payoff? And then Volume 6 happened, and then it was like, man, where's my payoff? Like, I'm not getting my payoff, and I'm just getting, like, again, I'm getting some good story, I'm getting some good development, but it's more of like, again, you're forcing shipping, or you're forcing this, or you're saying, oh, they're not in a relationship, but they kind of are, or you're saying, oh, this story is gonna happen, but then we kind of drop it, or there's a really quick and nothing consequence to this person's actions. Or even with like Cinder was built up to be this very strong person, and the fact that Raven, even with the main power, Raven just took her down like that, it's like, so she took her down like that, there was no consequences to Raven's actions, like nothing happened. It was just like, she lost the lamp, or they lost the lamp, and that was it. And Salem Salem knew about it from what we can see, but she just didn't do anything about it. Like, there was no real consequence to her action except for, well, I know about it. Then Neo didn't really, they just forgot about her, you know what I mean? And it was just like, let's bring her back, and now she's useless. She's basically just what she was before, and it was like, why even bring her back? Why just get a new lackey? She could have got a new lackey, and it would have literally not have been anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's again where you're not getting, there's no good character set up, or the character just used because plot device and not in a good way, and everything wasn't put out properly. It was just kind of meh, this might work. Let's just throw this in there. Let's just squeeze this in here. Let's just push that in there and see if it works. And I'm watching volume 7 now. This is where I realized I just didn't like it anymore. I'm just like, I don't really like it. I'm still gonna watch it because I hate watch a lot, but I don't hate this show. I just don't like it. It's just not good. Even the way the characters are acting, they're not using common sense. When you have characters that don't use common sense, it's different when they're tricked. It's different when they don't know. But when they're just not using common sense, like genuinely, when they're not just ignorant, they're just not using common sense, it's like, okay, I can't watch this anymore. You know what I mean? I have a big complaint with Ironwood. He never uses common sense. Common sense would tell him, send scouts, send people to find out information about Salem, how we can beat her, how easy it will be, how difficult it will be, what control she has over the Grimm, if she has control, does she have eyes everywhere, does she have spies, people looking out for her, who are those people? He should have sent people to see about this a long time ago. He has the ace ops. He could find people to go find this stuff out. He has robots. He has his whole thing was that he doesn't like sending people out to battle, and that's why he has the robot, but he doesn't send them for any recon or anything. Like, I don't understand. Like, no information gathering. Like, I get that he didn't know that Salem couldn't be beaten, but he damn sure could know a lot more information that they told him. He was just like, no, we can handle it. I think with the little information that Ozpin gave me, that I know he didn't give me the whole story, but the little information he gave me, I could do this. Like, no wonder Ozpin didn't trust him. He has the smallest amount of information and believes that he can just take over the world with it. Like, you know what I mean? He can believe he can just solve whatever problem with a small amount of information that he has. That's not a general. Generals don't do that. They try to get all the information they can and continue to get the information before they make a move. Like, it's crazy bonkers to me that no one has, it's crazy. He's just not using common sense. It's not even just me knowing this information. If I didn't know any of this information, I would have been like, okay, well, what about this? What about this? We should probably find this stuff out because I don't know this. And if I don't know something, I should probably know it. If I don't know all the information about Salem, I should probably know all the information about Salem. Like, not from these kids who just got here. I should have been trying to go find this information out. I have resources that could go out to Haven and investigate, to go out Vacuo and talk to them about it, go out to Beacon and again see what all happened, and to Rwby and Yang and all that, and see what they know and what they saw when, in that attack. Talk to all the students and see what they saw and get a statement from all of them so I can get a better understanding of what's all going on. And Rwby was sitting there for a while. She wasn't sitting there for like a year, but she was sitting there for some months in bed, you know what I mean, with her head hurting. And he sent an arm to Yang, but he couldn't send somebody there to be like, hey, what do you know information about this? Or, Ironwood wants to see you and we're gonna escort you back to Atlas to talk to him. None of that, nothing, none of that really. He just didn't think about doing any of that. Ironwood's not even my only complaint. I have so many more. This is just like a personal thing that's been bothering me for a while. I can get more in depth into it. There are just so many things that are wrong with this volume, and it makes me sad because it feels like they just gave up. It really does. And this is the first time in a long time that I've seen a fight scene from Rwby that I genuinely skipped over because it just meant nothing. It wasn't exciting. It was nothing. The story isn't that good. Hell, even now, Cinder should have got caught. Like, it's not like she snuck into the city her and Watts and Tyrion all snuck into the city like it was nothing. They didn't get caught. They weren't suspicious people. You just let people come into Mistral like that? We just don't let them walk in, not be able to identify themselves, or no one recognizes them, or no one sees on the camera, hey, it's this guy who's actually a really popular scientist here. That's who that looks like. Or just seeing some sketchy looking, like, they look sketched. Like, they look sketchy. They had no business. They're going down dark alleys. Like, it just seemed weird that no one noticed these people and no one said anything about it. And the same thing with Cinder. It was hard for Rwby and them to get past the security. How did Cinder and them get past it? We didn't even hear about that. I would love to know how they got past Atlas security to get into Mantle, because remember, Rwby and them had a ship, but they couldn't get clearance. So how did they do it? Where were they staying? You know what I mean? How is Cinder and them not a fugitive? Like, even with the thing back at Beacon, when that all happened, they knew Cinder and them had something to do with it. Why weren't they, like, the first people that were like, if you see these people, make sure that, you know what I mean, be warned, or there's a warrant out for their arrest. Like, Cinder should have had one. Her whole team should have had one. They just didn't. Like, it was just like, meh. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make common sense for a world like this. A world that has communication in a sense, or a world that things were known and no one's bringing these things up. Adam was all over the news, but Cinder, Mercury, all of them were just not there. Like, they just weren't on the news. And I'm pretty sure Ironwood, if he didn't know, again, that's where it's like, that's your job to go ask people, hey, who did you see during this? Did you recognize any faces? Did you know any people that were part of this attack? My point is that, like, this show had more genuine, like, no one had common sense moments than I've ever seen before. What? Why isn't this happening? Like, genuinely. And so now I'm just like, I don't really even like the show anymore. I'm just watching to maybe see if it goes back on like an uphill climb. You know what I mean? Right now it's on a downward slope and it's not going back up, but maybe it will. Maybe something good will happen, or a song will come out that makes me want to even get the soundtrack at this point. These are just genuine complaints. But yeah, I feel like Rooster Teeth in general is just going downhill, but that's just my opinion. If you have a different opinion, comment below. I would love to hear you, like, your guys' opinion, because again, my opinion at first was just like, I love this show, you can't tell me nothing, you can't tell me shit, because I love this show with all my heart. Now I'm just like, I can do without it at this point. If you feel differently, or you want me to do a more in-depth video on like what I hate exactly about it, and more go into depth about what doesn't make sense and go point by point, that's fine, I'll do that. I just have to do more research on it, or not really research, mainly just go back and watch the stuff and just point the shit out and write it down. Comment your opinion below. Subscribe if you want to. I recommend no, but yeah, I'll see you guys later.